There are a few people that would like to speak for a moment, but we will limit it and make it, and try not to take a lot of time or to say something that somebody else has already said. This gentleman over here.
Okay. Jim Donis. I would just like to address the issue. The gentleman on the left, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Mr. Larson.
Yes, you had asked why shooting was even a factor, was even a concern of this. When they first got their permit, when they first, in the first 7 years that they operated, they had 4 events a year. That's when they had the shooting, 4 times a year. They had events that went in from about 2 days up to about 7 days. That's why we didn't complain, because it wasn't a constant thing. Now it's every day. It's almost, it's, you know, it's 5, 6, some, you know, at least 5, 6 days a week is the shooting now. So it's increased 100-fold from what the initial first 7 years were, what the initial agreement was. That's right.
Thanks for
That's
that.
why it's a problem.
Great, thank you.
It's a problem now.
Steve, can we just address that quickly?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just want to address from the beginning, we did hold the 4 main events each year, but there was also monthly shoots on the weekends by cowboy clubs throughout the course of the 7 years. Maybe you just didn't notice them as much before, because now it's 5 days a week. Let me repeat that, 5 days a week. We do close 2 days a week. There's absolutely no shooting on the property. It's not 7 days a week. So if you're
What
hearing
days do you
shooting,
close?
we are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. So if you hear any shooting on Mondays and Tuesdays, it's not Veterans Ranch.
All right, thank you, Misty. Edwin, I think you had your hand up some time back.
Okay.
Would you like to speak?
I guess I'm looking for 100% clarification. Do we need to hear it? Go
Do you
ahead.
solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your
It
knowledge?
is.
Thank you.
Thank you. For clarification purposes, the original conditional use that was issued was for a private shooting range. Am I correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Correct. And now the change that they're seeking is for a public shooting range, correct or incorrect?
That's one of the.
One of the things they're asking to expand. And then the events that they've been holding were public shooting events. Is that correct or incorrect? Are they already holding public shooting events now? Is that part of what the issue was with the conditional use permit? The part of the violation on the conditional use permit? I'm confused.
No, they were advertising of opening to the general public. And they had signs posted and flyers in the office. And we had a complaint from one of the people in the neighborhood stating that, because their conditional use was just for the Founders Ranch and SASS and their affiliated clubs that are members of SASS.
Okay, so they weren't doing any public shooting yet then?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge? Okay, thank you.
Leo, would you like to speak for a moment?
Leo Harriman.
Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth and the best of your knowledge.
I don't have testimony, I have a question, but sure.
Can you state your name?
I'd like to ask you all at SASS to talk a little bit more about the evacuation plan and whether you feel that the roads in and out are in fact sufficient. For example, if traffic is coming in on Guantanamo and going out on Barton, can an RV get over Barton? I don't think so, but I wonder what your thoughts are on that. Also, if can an RV get through something like that? If they can't, then the only other way out is going to be Guantanamo, right? So I'm wondering whether, if you could talk a little bit about that evacuation plan and how it would actually work.
In its current condition, she's absolutely right. Barton cannot handle it. RV, it's barely passable in most common vehicles, much less in an RV. But I would actually like to, if it's okay with the commission, ask our ranch manager, who is the key contact safety point for the emergency evacuation plan, Roy Klaus, to address those issues in more detail. Would that be all right if he answers those?
Yes, I think so, but I would like to add to that question just a little bit.
Sure.
When do you think that Barton Road will be okay for motorhomes?
Again, that depends on what kind of joint collaboration we can get with Bernalillo and Santa Fe County. Initially, the concern that was taken before the county commission in July, I believe it was as a result of the traffic from Warrior Dash. And as Steve mentioned, Commissioner Freiberger started talks with Santa Fe County and Bernalillo County for, if this event were to happen again in the future. And from what I understand, I haven't had a conversation with Commissioner Freiberger, but the information presented to me was that they had preliminarily received commitments from Santa Fe County to chip seal Barton Road to help. I mean, Santa Fe County is obviously a direct benefactor of SASS events as well in the form of gross receipts taxes. So there was that sort of initial commitment to chip seal Barton to improve it, and we obviously made the commitment to add a second entry-exit gate to ease ingress and egress. But then this sort of took on a whole nother life. So we'd have to pick that up and speak with the commissioners from all three counties to see what we can do.
Right. Thank you.
Roy?
Roy Klaus. I do. Reiterating what Misty's had to say, we do know that there's been initial contact with all three counties to do the improvements. They are sketchy at this point because no agreement was made and it was put on hold when these problems came up. Our intent is obviously to improve those roads. My understanding is that the role that Santa Fe County will place would be in the form of financial assistance for materials, Torrance County with equipment, and Bernalillo County also with subbase from their pits. We are prepared and have already done our initial layout to add an additional entrance onto the ranch so that then you have a one-way into our ranch and another way out of the ranch. So it would be a gate off of the Barton.
Will SASS be part of the group that does the road
Physically does the road?
financially?
Not to my knowledge at this point. We have not been asked about it.
Any other questions?
I have a question that would reference this map, which shows the location of the property. If I'm a resident that lives on, well, is there a road running along the north side of this property going east?
There is.
Okay. Is that the access that these people east a few miles must use to get out, to egress, regress?
No, not the road on the north side. That just, it's just a dead end there at the end of the SASS property. And
Okay.
there's a driveway leading to somebody's land or a residence on the north side of that road.
Okay, so these, it appears, lots and roads and so forth that seem to be in Torrance County, east of the subject property. How do those people get, say, to Edgewood, Albuquerque, wherever?
Well, you'd have to ask them, but I imagine that they go out Juan Tomas there. That's the road that borders it on the south to 217.
It almost appears on this
Or they
map.
take Barton to the north to
Okay.
Highway 66.
Clarify again what area you're asking.
Well, my point is this. If someone lives east of this property we're talking about, and their access to go back and forth to their jobs and whatever is to get to Barton Road, and there's traffic holding all that up, is there a different way they can go over toward Edgewood or go north to,
Can you show me on the map where you're talking about?
well, I think the residents are the ones that,
Are you talking about?
okay, these people right here and these people right here, when there's a big event, how do they get in and out?
Okay, I can answer that because I live right there.
They
Okay.
don't.
Okay.
We stay there.
Yeah.
No, he's talking about a different area.
The area he's referencing is actually east in the valley on the other side of the mountain, which backs the shooting. That's the area he's wondering about. If they have to come up north on the road that runs north of the property and hit Barton to be able to exit. And that, I actually live there. I drive a Jeep and I wouldn't try that road. You take, Windmill and, come into Edgewood that way around through Torrance County where Edgewood starts. I was just referencing what he was pointing out where I live in that valley, so.
You're talking about the Bella Vista subdivision?
I don't know what
To the
it's
east of
called.
there?
I don't know what it's called, but.
That roadway is not completed to come out to Juan Tomas. All
Okay,
those
all right.
people go back out
The other way.
Edgewood 7 and up to Edgewood that way.
Okay. Now, really, maybe my question ought to be, this board, is it our responsibility to give direction about how a road ought to be improved before this is approved, or do we pass that on to the county commission?
Adolfo can help us here, but I believe you can make a recommendation for road improvements, along with your recommendation for pass, no pass. But, that's all it is a recommendation.
I think what you're saying is that the recommendation could include some conditions.
That's right, and you would need to make sure that those conditions are part of your motion, because that is what happened back in 2004, that those conditions weren't made part of the motion.
All right. We have a few more hands up, so we'll try to make it as brief as possible. The young lady here that spoke before, I don't know your name. That'd be fine, yeah.
Mary Ann Indy. Thank you. I live in that area. I can clarify on the road thing. The residents in Mountain Valley have to come out and go on the Juan Tomas, which is dirt, to the pavement, turns into pavement and Juan Tomas, and out to 217. Or we usually do not take Barton because it's so rough and it's practically impassable. Occasionally, if you want something fun and rough, you can take Barton. But we would access through Juan Tomas from our twilight to Juan Tomas, through on down out to 217 is the main road out for us, which is blocked up and even difficult during end of the trail. If I try to get my truck and my horse trailer out, and there are RVs coming in that narrow road, it's hard. I mean, it's like, okay, I got horses and I've got a ditch.
And you actually live in Torrance County?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The people that are here are from Torrance County, yes indeed.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
The subdivision that Miss Endy is referring to is to the south side of Juan Tomas, on the south side of the subject property.
Is it, no, okay. It's in Torrance County, but it's south of Juan Tomas.
Yes, but we are
Okay,
in
okay.
Torrance County, yes.
All right.
So my question also would be that with the roads are in the condition they are now, and I would request that they not be permitted any kind of zoning change until they have evidence that they can provide this transportation, their traffic, among the other things we have listed. But my other question is, they have not said, are they going to do night activities? It's in there, they're going to do concerts. You often think of concerts as night activities. And these other activities, are they going to run at night? What are they going to do about lights, noise? And they have not said about alcohol. They said they don't do it, during their SASS activities, what about when they're leasing it out to all these other activities? What about that? What about the alcohol, the traffic, and the lights at night for that? So if we could have some...
I believe that's a question to SAS, so Misty?
I'd be happy to answer those. The one thing that I feel like I need to make sure that everyone understands is our proposed list of special uses. We wanted to make sure that everything that we presented here, this is kind of wildest hopes and dreams. Does this mean we're going to go gangbusters next week and every day there's going to be night activities and craft fairs and festivals? It was, no, let's do this right this time. And anything that we can ever imagine wanting to do with that property, even if it's not if we don't do it for 20 years, let's address it now and take care of any concerns that arise now. So I feel like that needs to be said. As far as night, I don't know. I mean, these are just sort of our hopes and dreams. That doesn't mean that we're expecting the county to give them all to us, part and parcel. These are just things that we think that we would like to do and that the property would be a good use for. We're certainly open to negotiations and working with our neighbors to make sure we have as minimal impact negatively on your quality of life. And that would include doing away with concerts maybe and not having night activities. In regards to, I'm sorry, what was the alcohol. For Warrior Dash, it was, again, a separate, they obtained all the permits through Torrance County. The one and only dispensary permit holder in Torrance County was responsible for and served all of the beer at that Warrior Dash event. So they received, again, it's sort of like that case by case. The individual company or venue hosting the event who leased the property from us would be responsible in obtaining all the appropriate permits for serving alcohol, which Warrior Dash did.
All right.
So
Thank
hopefully
you.
that helps.
And I would just like to add that the neighborhood does not have confidence in SAS that they will, if it's not...
Please limit your questions.
Okay.
You've already testified.
All right, could we have it in writing then? Is what my question
Thank you,
would
ma'am.
be.
The gentleman way to the back, you've been standing up. Yes, sir.
What's your...
Yes, orange.
Brian Casey. Yes. AKA Agent Orange. Yeah.
Remember these questions.
Yes, sir.
You gave up your
I understand. We're discussing the road and the lack of not getting in and out of our property. The gentleman on the end had asked about shooting, and you and I have a difference on the shooting out there every day. If you read that handout that Jim Litoff gave you, it is SAS saying what they wanted to do with the property when they were granted the conditional use permit. And it does not say anything about shooting every day, and it does not say anything about them shooting with members only.
So, sir, what is your question?
My question is, knowing what Torrance County does with roads, having lived out there 26 years, and knowing what Santa Fe County does with the roads, I would like for you to wait and see if anything is going to transpire on the roads out there. Also on the transportation plan, they're showing left-hand turns, and my question is, why not bring them in right-hand turns? You can't make a left-hand turn at the state fairgrounds for some reason at any time. And I think it's because it blocks, I mean, if you make a left-hand turn, you're blocking the traffic and making it hard.
I think that's something that they might consider. So thank you, sir. The gentleman over here who spoke earlier.
Yes, sir. Jim Litoff. Would it be advisable for you to come out to the area and actually look at these roads instead of just, taking verbal, get an actual, I don't believe y'all are very familiar with the roads. Would you, is it a matter of adjourning and before you make a decision or a proposal, but come
We're
on,
going to have to call a special meeting
Okay, well, I mean,
Transport them in separate vehicles so they could not discuss anything.
okay. Well,
If it's not feasible, that's something that would be easier to control.
Okay, so in other words, our testimony as far as the roads and whatnot are acceptable to you, and you don't need a visual inspection of what we are talking about?
If the board needs any more, report on that, they can request me as their representative from planning and zoning to go out there and take photographs of the roadways.
Great, thank you, sir.
Maybe that'd be a possibility.
I think we had one or two more hands. The gentleman with the scarf.
Next, Don Orr.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do. I'm going to have to lead up a little bit to my questions here. When they had the past war, I am pro-guns. I love guns, and okay. At the Warrior Dash, there was no way I could come back in on Juan Tomas. So I tried coming up Barton, and it was just continually lined with vehicles just parked haphazardly in the dry grass. It was bone dry out there. And when I finally made my way up to the intersection, the T there at Barton and Juan Tomas, the state cop, there's good cops, there's bad cops. I had a bad one. Okay, I was denied entrance to turn left to get to my property. I was threatened by the state police that I would be arrested if I tried to turn in there.
Sir, so your question would be, how can that be improved, correct?
Okay, how is that going to be guaranteed? I also got original SASS placards for my vehicles, guaranteeing me access in there.
Okay, I'm sure that SAS will improve your access to the roads.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you.
No, I got more questions. Excuse me.
Keep them to the questions, if you
Okay.
can, please.
I recently had to be picked up by ambulance, Torrance County ambulance, Torrance County paramedics. It took over an hour for them to get out there. There was nothing going on at SAS. This is the perfect condition scenario. Can they guarantee the only way to really get in there is to land an air helicopter? Will SAS guarantee payment if somebody has to call 911 to get evacuated out of there?
I believe that is probably information that is not pertinent to what we have to decide today. I would like our attorney to comment on that.
If you believe it's not pertinent, you can have to move on. And I guess questions as to guarantees seem to go beyond the...
Right.
There is no guarantee. I don't... That's to anything.
Yeah, but I think SAS is hearing what you're asking, and we're not trying to keep you from asking those things.
My next question is SAS going to have wet fire hydrants on their property to take care of any fires that may get going out there?
I think SAS could answer that quite quickly.
We can't have fire hydrants because there's no water out there. There is a well that services only the house. As you know, all the areas even immediately south are water haul areas. But we do have, like I said earlier, water readily available. We have 2 5,000-gallon water tanks available that are full at all times. We have the means to spray that water and distribute it. We also work very closely during all our events with Torrance County Sheriff's Department and Fire Department so that they're fully aware of what's going on and what our needs are. We've had Torrance County Mobile Command Center set up there during our events in the past as well. So we try to do everything that we can to prevent and be ready to react to fires.
Okay, thank you, and thank you,
I
sir.
have another question. The SAS Enterprise sits in a 50 to 100 year floodplain. They have had giant walls of water come right down through the middle of that. Is that really a feasible place to build this humongous
project you got planned?
I can speak to,
Okay,
I don't know that I can speak to the floodplain, so, but I think Gerald has some.
Yes, and I know where that
Y'all
floodplain
have your
is.
ample time to talk.
I've been in Steve's office, as a matter of fact, he had to dig up a map that looked like it was 100 years old to find the original floodplain. Any building that we do is certainly going to consider that. There is no way in the world one of us wants to build a building that's going to disappear during one of these rainstorms that we have, one of these 100-year floods that we have about every 3 or 4 years.
You've already built what you presently have right in the floodplain.
It's not a discussion, that's the answer to the question.
All right, so we need to move along, we have a few more.
I got another question here. It has to do with alcohol licensing.
You had said during your last question that that was your last question?
Okay.
So
I signed 2 sheets over there to speak earlier, and neither sheet states on there what they're even for. So where was the sign-up sheet?
you didn't check off if you wanted to speak on that sheet.
Neither sheets say what they're for. That's pretty hokey.
I would like to inform, Mr. Chair, if I may, just
Yes, sir.
inform everybody in the public that this body's role will be to make a recommendation to the county commission, and the county commission will also hold a full public hearing, so that if anybody feels they may not, although I believe the board has been very generous with the amount of time that's been given members of the public to speak, if anybody feels they have not had that opportunity, there certainly will be an opportunity to do so at the full public hearing before the county commission.
Thank you. I think we got 1 or 2 more hands back there. We'll recognize 2 more if there is. Michael?
My name is Michael Gary. Let's make a quick comment and then a question. Quick comment is that I hope that whatever you approve or hopefully delay approving, that whatever said promises are made in writing. My question is SASS willing to pave the road for safe access for these horrible roads that are going out there? Is SASS willing to foot the bill to take care of this problem? That's one question. And again, the other question is, now I heard about advertising something, and my question is SASS in the future going to advertise things that they can't do? And then my third question is, do you really want to approve something that a Pandora's box of possible projects is open to, and that you're not going to be responsible? And I have one other question. Is earlier what was stated was we are not responsible for the events the individuals are, and then you turn around and say, well, we are responsible for it. So my question to SASS is, are they responsible or aren't they responsible? And my question for you, can you make sure in their agreement, whatever you agree on, that they will be responsible for all aspects of all events?
Was there one more hand back there that wanted to talk? Yes.
The roads are kind of reasonable because that's a development cost. And that could be doable, I think.
Roy Klaus. I'd like to address the gentleman's concern about emergency services and whether or not emergency services can get in easily during a SASS event. I'd like to remind everybody that during a sanctioned SASS event or any of those that we do sanction, we have emergency personnel on site with ambulance or the ability to call in airback or whatever is necessary. So in the time of an event, we actually have better coverage than when there is no event going on and you have to wait 45 minutes.
That's true.
Thank you, sir. I think we'll kind of call the questions to a halt now.